All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check out its local search and its city search, see if either of them or both of them or any of them got BSS. And we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. Our North Star weapon of choice is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More info on that, pin video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph actually in white here. Highest intent people on the left, these people using social search, Google search, they're searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Focused on talking about these peeps. When we're talking about BSS videos here. Way over on the right, these are the lowest intent peeps. They ain't searching for boudoir, and they basically have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. Talk about that on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And right now we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, boudoir search sameness BSS is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots is bad because that means 0 slots page 1 means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market. And this is a recipe for our business to be dying super fast. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, that ain't good either. But it's not good enough because, there's 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. We got 1 slot that says there's 9 other boudoir photographers. Everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. Nobody's standing out. So what's a buyer doing? They're clicking down everyone's website, opening up everyone's, contact form, filling out every contact form, getting a quote from everyone, getting, price shopping and the best deal for them, wasting everyone's time, blah, 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 blah. So we never want to have BSS boudoir search sameness. In both scenarios, yeah, we'll get contact forms if we got 1 slot, but like most of those people ain't going with us. It's only a 10% chance to go with us. So, just kind of real frustrating. That leads to the business dying as well. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google search is actually not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are A, market saturation. Basically everyone knows what that is. Simply more boudoir photographers entering the market over time. And when that happens, people getting new iPhones or new cameras, they enter the marketplace. They're throwing up their Google Maps profile saying they do boudoir photography. They're throwing up their website saying they're now a boudoir photographer. They're posting them on mom groups on Facebook saying they do boudoir photo shoots. And that's more sellers for the same number of buyers. Makes it harder and harder for every seller to make a sale and kind of get those clients. Also happened in a big way with COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, forced a lot of people. Well, they still need to earn money. They still got to go get money. And so everyone's got a super powered smartphone with ultra camera. So easiest thing for them to do, become boudoir photographers. Now, the false face belief of page 1 inequality, that one's new. And as a result, we actually, this is where boudoir photographers actually originally believed that, kind of just automatically believe without even questioning, kind of that every boudoir photographer gets either 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google. But that's how, let's say they're on slot 9, page 1, slot 9 with their website, some market saturation, now they're on page 2, slot 3, and they're kind of like, well, that's simply how it happens. And hopefully those peeps that are now ranking me, delete their website and Google de-indexes them. So maybe Google will pull me back up on page 1. But no, this is a 100% incorrect thought. This is the, let it happen to me thought. We actually want to be, let's make it happen thought, which is what I did. I actually went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we invented. And, proving that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, because we actually learned Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So again, BSS, boudoir search sameness, 0-1 slots, page 1 Google search. And if we got 0 slots, then we are, basically we're disappearing or invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot on page 1, we're still basically invisible. There's only really only a 10% chance someone's going to convert on us compared to everyone else. So both disappearing boudoir photographers make us disappearing boudoir photographers. And it's kind of like the warning light, the flashing flag, the whatever, the canary in the coal mine, that our boudoir photography business is now on the path to disappearing as well. But thankfully, we've discovered the solution to this S-cubed methodology. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there. And what that acts as is basically like the snow up at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America, snow on the eastern side, the backside of those Andes Mountains. And what happens is, that snow melts over time. The water flows into small streams, small rivers. But eventually all that melted snow collects down into the Amazon River. And that's page one Google search, the Amazon River. So basically everything, all this social search saturation stuff we do actually then flows onto page one of Google search if we do execute our SQ methodology correctly. And what's interesting about this, it's the only solution for boudoir photographers I've seen that actually allows them to increase the, actually gives them a chance to still grow the business in the face of massive market saturation and gives them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen that gives that same benefit is having a large, well-known brand, but we all know that takes like 5 to 10 years to build. And so that doesn't satisfy our relatively quick criteria. We need the relatively quick criteria because, dude, AI's here. AI is taking people's jobs. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build a brand. Ultra market saturation is coming for boudoir photographers. We gotta basically fortify ourselves before that happens. And an example here, actually two other things. First interesting thing is SQ methodology. It's just the way it works, allowing us to show up with such a high frequency on so many different surfaces. My estimate is it actually enables a large, well-known brand to be built 8x faster than normal conventional methods. So it's kind of like utilize SQ methodology for initial wins, get a brand in the future, and then imagine if you get a large, well-known brand and you continue to use SQ methodology in the future. I mean, you're basically going to be unbeatable. Now, one example here, we're going to say we are in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Minneapolis-St. Paul, Minnesota, and the Twin Cities. And there's 1 million boudoir photographers there. And with those 1 million boudoir photographers, we are one of them. Everyone's got a boudoir photography website, trying to rank page one on Google. Ultra competition. And as a result, we're like, well, we ain't got no large brand. And we ain't got time to create a brand. So our only shot here to compete is utilizing SQ methodology. And so, dude, let's say we super crank this thing, this SQ methodology, and we take the first 300 slots, page one on Google search, or first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across social search, and then those flow onto, say allows us to take up the first 300 slots, page one on Google search, and it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so we're taking out the first 30 pages. So guess what? Anyone in our city is actually is actually searching anywhere, social search or Google search for boudoir photo shoot, boudoir photographer, whatever, the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, we're basically the only one they're going to be finding, even though our market's ultra saturated. And so whose business is going to be growing during this time? Most likely ours. And whose business is going to be declining and like dying? Most likely the 999,999 other boudoir photographers in the city. And so, this is kind of a interesting example of what SQ methodology could enable, kind of at the ultra extreme end. But hey, finally, we got a shot here. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And initial benefit, yeah, more slots, page one Google search. That's cool. The other initial benefit, every new slot we get page one Google search, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. A lot of boudoir photographers love this one. Basically, can push their competitors to page two and deeper, and effectively making them visible to approximately 80% of searches, invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which, I mean, this is an awesome initial benefit. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. And this is where the GBC universe recommends hitting the 3 out of 10 minimum, 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google search minimum, because basically everyone else can have one slot. If we got three, we're dominating them. And the ultra rare change, someone has two slots on page one. Well, we're gonna have three. We're still dominating them. So three, 3 out of 10, and that 3 out of 10 minimum is really the best for all scenarios. Obviously, it's the best to get even higher, but 3 out of 10 is kind of the minimum where we want to get to. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. People thought they simply had to accept having 0 and 1 slots page one on Google. 100% incorrect. We now know that. We developed a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, my results now utilizing S-cubed methodology. For myself, I wanted to take over page one on Google for this search term, BLCS boudoir. So I utilize S-cubed methodology to see my results. And let's see, so we got Instagram, organic slot 1, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I search for this, who they going with, who they clicking on, obviously me. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, in only 10 days. So these are my results I got utilizing S-cubed methodology. Now, main event here, main course, main feast. We're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search, Louisville, North Carolina, or its city, kind of close to city search. All right, so first the local search, Louisville, North Carolina. And let's see, go down the organic slot. So they got one. They got, man, this actually looks a lot different than I'm used to. We got 2, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5. All right, awesome. So 5 out of 10. Great. So we do not have BSS for the local search, and we are hitting the GBC recommended minimum of at least 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google. So awesome for that. Now we'll go to the city search, kind of the closest city nearby I could find. Let's see. All right, we got 1. And all right, it looks like that's it. That's it. We got 1. So we got local search, did awesome. City search, we got 1 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. So we do have BSS, boudoir search sameness. And we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local search, you've done your city search, and you actually see, you've got BSS for either or both of them, or you're not meeting GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots for either or both of them. And you're like, all right, you realize you got BSS, you understand page 1 equality, there's a false belief, and you're like, all right, I broke through that. I need to achieve, I need to get as many page 1 Google slots as possible. And you also understand the market saturation with, the new iPhones, more boudoir photographers coming in, new cameras, more boudoir photographers coming in. But you're also looking ahead and you're saying, man, AI is taking a ton of people's jobs. Last time a bunch of people lost their job, COVID, a huge tsunami of boudoir photographers coming in. So you've actually decided, hey, you got to fortify your life right now and actually get as many page 1 slots on Google, which is only a downflow of getting as many page 1 slots on social search for all the social network searches. It's downstream of that. Before all these boudoir photographers come into the market, come into the city, and start making their websites, ranking, competing for page 1, kind of like prepare, kind of like the levees in New Orleans, since the city is below sea level, kind of like build those levees up to prevent floodwaters or the flood of boudoir photographers from taking your market share. And you're seeing, okay, S-cubed methodology is the only solution that can get me there effectively. And you want to achieve page 1 visibility, hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10, become a visible boudoir photographer, have boudoir search visibility. because you know you need this on your way to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also know that you actually, there's actually hidden back-end benefits of doing this SQ methodology as well we have not talked about yet. First one would be in kind of, we're building thematic keyword columns about around our brand name, our social handles, our website, and all that. As we do SQ methodology more and more, it increases the probability we get actually recommended for AI overviews. Here at the top, premium placement, only one slot for local search and city search. And you also want the back-end benefits of every time we execute another day we execute SQ methodology, increasing the probability we get recommended through all the AI search engines, ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. These all run on, thematic keyword clusters, authority, age. And so every day we execute the SQ methodology, we're increasing that probability getting recommended there. And we know more, literally, I mean, Google still has, I believe, like 89 or 90% of global search share. But due to AI search, using more and more and eating into Google every single day. I haven't used standard Google search in literally like a year to actually click websites and open and read stuff. I've always been using the Google AI mode. And so you want these backend benefits. You also decide you want to be the first mover in your city, because you recognize, my current plan is to only work with one person per city on this. So you kind of want to box out your competitors and kind of achieve all this front end results. More hit the GBC minimum 3 out of 10 on page 1, kick out competitors off page 1, effectively make them invisible to approximately 80% of searchers who never go to page 2. And build these momentum on the back end, which is higher probability AI overview, higher probability being recommended AI search, and higher probability nobody in your city ever catches you. Put more distance between them, between you and them, by building up this thematic keyword columns attached to your brand for the backend for AI search engines to be recommending into the future. Because I know last time I used Google or ChatGPT to search for boudoir photographers in a city, dude, it only gave me 3. I'm like, what? There's like 60 in this city. It literally only displayed 3. So we want a higher chance of being those 3. And you also know if someone else in your city jumps on this first, they lock you out, well, you're gonna have to derive or figure out SQ methodology on your own. And then you have to go execute it, but you won't be confident executing it because you don't know if you've even derived it correctly to use it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our output with your competitor to just maintain the gap. You'd have to actually exceed our output with your competitor for us, to actually make up ground on us and kind of take back the momentum that we're building in the back-end AI search and the front-end results we get kicking you off page 1 of Google. So you've decided, screw that. I'd rather be the first mover in my city, give myself the highest chance of blocking out all the boudoir photographers coming from AI. They're going to be forced losing their jobs, but people still got to earn money. And you decide SQ methodology is the solution you want, the path you want to take. So shoot me a DM. Not right now. My DMs are full, or my DMs are closed. The hospital we're not taking any new patients right now. But